U.S. tightens economic grip on Russia with targeted sanctions on weapons programs and uranium ban. On Wednesday, the United States announced the imposition of new sanctions targeting a wide network of companies and individuals connected to Russia's armament programs. This includes over a dozen Chinese firms suspected of assisting Moscow in circumventing prior sanctions, and various persons associated with the death of a prominent critic of the Kremlin, Alexei Navalny. The measures, introduced by the U.S. Treasury and State Departments, focus on undermining Russia's military-industrial complex and chemical weapons initiatives. They also penalize businesses and individuals in other countries who support Russia's acquisition of military components as the conflict with Ukraine continues into its third year. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen emphasized that these sanctions are designed to significantly hinder Russia's military efforts by targeting its production capabilities and the networks involved in evading sanctions. Concurrently, the Senate passed a bill to prohibit the importation of Russian uranium, which represents a further step in the U.S. strategy to weaken Russia's position in the ongoing Ukrainian conflict. This legislation, which President Joe Biden is expected to sign, aims to reduce American dependence on Russian resources, specifically low-enriched uranium critical for the U.S. nuclear industry. The sanctions also affect importers of specific materials like cotton cellulose and nitrocellulose, essential for manufacturing various explosives, including gunpowder and rocket propellants. Additional targets include Russian government officials and entities involved in chemical and biological weapons, companies engaged in natural gas projects, and personnel at the penal facility where Navalny was held. In response, Russian President Vladimir Putin condemned these new rounds of sanctions as baseless and illegitimate. Meanwhile, a list of 16 entities in China and Hong Kong, mostly linked to facilitating Russian procurement strategies, has been disclosed by the Biden administration. Last month, Yellen visited Guangzhou and Beijing to caution Chinese officials against supporting Russia's military actions, highlighting that significant repercussions would follow any such involvement. China has declared that it does not provide military support or weaponry to Russia, despite maintaining strong economic ties with Moscow. This assertion comes as other nations, including India, continue their economic relationships with Russia amidst ongoing Western sanctions. Accusations have been levied against companies from various countries including China, Azerbaijan, Belgium, Slovakia, Turkey, and the United Arab Emirates, alleging that they assist Russia in obtaining foreign technology and equipment. The imposed sanctions are designed to prevent these companies from accessing the U.S. financial system and to prohibit transactions with them by American entities. President Biden recently enacted a $95 billion war aid package, which includes urgent weapons shipments to Ukraine along with support for Israel, Taiwan, and other strategic areas globally. Additionally, the newly approved legislation is expected to curtail Russian income by at least $1 billion through an upcoming ban on uranium imports. This move follows the earlier U.S. ban on Russian oil imports that took place shortly after Russia's invasion of Ukraine in early 2022, despite previous bipartisan demands in the U.S. for a uranium import ban as well. Senator John Barrasso of Wyoming, a leading Republican on the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee, hailed the uranium import prohibition as a significant achievement. He emphasized that this ban will not only undermine Russia's war efforts, but also rejuvenate the American uranium industry and stimulate investments in the national nuclear fuel supply chain. Barrasso confidently stated that Wyoming is prepared to replace Russian uranium imports with its domestic supplies. On the Democratic side, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, who chairs the same committee, criticized the U.S. dependency on Russian uranium as unacceptable, arguing that it indirectly finances Putin's illegal warfare in Ukraine. In addition to the import restrictions, the legislation also allocates $2.7 billion in previously authorized funds to boost domestic uranium production, aiming to enhance national security and reduce reliance on foreign uranium.